Hello everyone, I'm Rich Lamont. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I started this channel to share my love of salmon flies and fly tying. I cover everything from spay flies to salmon flies to artistic flies. I cover techniques. All my flies are step by step, so that way you can follow along. I try to give as much detail and specifics as I can throughout the whole process. That way it's much easier to understand, but you can also try out certain techniques and see certain things that I do. If there's anything that you ever need to know, or you have a specific question, by all means, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to make a video about it. Mondays, I'll be doing material reviews, everything from all the different pheasants that we use to different hooks, different threads and silks, tinsels, and more things that are used in salmon flies. So if you guys enjoy the channel and you like a specific video, by all means, please hit the thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed, think about subscribing. That helps out the channel, that helps me out. And leave your notification bell on. That'll let you know when I post a new video, and you'll be able to follow along before anybody else. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get on with it. Alright, so today's video I am going to attempt the Major from Frederick Tolfreys' Jones Guide to Norway. This fly is kind of as popular as the Jock Scott. It's a very significant fly in history. Uses some very odd materials and is kind of constructed a little bit differently. So, you know, it should be interesting, it should be fun, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. So, let's get started. Now, as you can see, I've already added the silk gut, and I'm just going to pull back a little bit. Now, it is Saturday morning, so I got some kids in the other room, and my buddy's children. So if you hear some background noise, that's what that is. You know, life goes on. So for the tip, it's silver tinsel, and the tag is crimson silk. So I'm just tying the tinsel first. Actually, come all the way back. Now the body on this is mainly either pig's wool or seal's fur. Recipe calls for pig's wool, but these days it's a bit difficult to get a hold of. I do have some, but I don't have all the colors necessary. So I'm going to do this in seal's fur. But you can see is right here the gut ends. So I'm going to start the tinsel there and just kind of gently fill in this lower space just a little bit. But this body will be tapered, getting larger and larger. So having a, you know, a thicker area back here is really not necessary. Oh, also, this is a, the hook I'm using today is a size 7/0 Byron Bjerke hook. This is a William Bartlett style hook. Alright, 3 turns ought to do it. Tinsel I'm using is, of course, Vivus, as per my usual. And this tip is just small Vivas. If the hook were smaller, I'd probably go with a extra small, but I think small will be good for such a large hook. Now there is no butt on this one either. This one is just goes right into the body, so okay. Now for the red or crimson silk. And for this I'm using Japanese silk. This is again the Kyoto brand. I don't know if that's the brand, but they call it Kyoto silk. Well, like always, I'm just going to wrap a little bit farther forward from where I started, and then we'll bring the thread back over that. That just ensures a smooth transition between body segments. Do a little bit of burnishing. That looks good, however, I do see a stray fiber. Okay. Alright, so the tail is golden pheasant. Just a crest, as usual. Build up a little bit of a flat spot for it there. And now I've got a couple chosen. And I'll show you the photo in John's Guide to Norway really quick, so you can kind of get an idea of proportions. Ooh. Alright, so the tail is very similar to how blackers' tails are. And you can see they're longer, a little bit lower. So, got a couple here that I think would be good candidates. This is number 1. It's a bit long, and I think it would be a great topping for another fly, but here's number 2, which is just a shade shorter. I like the longer one actually, only because this one has fibers aligned a little bit differently, and they're slightly shorter fibers. I also want it to lay a little bit lower, so what I'm going to do is use my bodkin and just kind of flatten that out a little bit more. That's better, but boy. I hate using such a nice topping. Okay, well, I want to thank each and every one of you for following along this year. Not just my time, but my journey throughout my transplant. But, you know, all of you that follow my videos and sit through all these very long-winded, kind of tedious moments of me choosing things and selecting feathers, you know, I thank you so much. I appreciate all of you for making this channel what it is. Get back to that photo quick. Any of you guys that are really getting serious into tying, I highly recommend this book. Jones Guide to Norway from Frederick Tolfrey. Really is a wonderful book. Color plates are gorgeous. I think right around here is looking rather good. So I just got to strip off just a few more little fibers and then we can get that mounted up. Yeah, I like that. Alright, so now I'm going to use my flat nose pliers. I'm going to flatten out that rachis on there. I'm going to flatten that all the way up, and we'll just tie in the whole thing. 'Cause like I said, that body's going to get tapered anyhow. It's going to get thicker and thicker as we go. So we can just tie this tail right in. Okay, I like that, we're nice and straight. Now, I did a little bit of reading online and looking at different examples of this fly, and it seems like there's a lot of confusion surrounding the hackle. The body hackle on this actually does start right after the red, after the crimson tag. There is no butt, there's no ostrich hurl, it goes right into the body. So having the hackle, it does start right after the red, not after the blue. And the hackle is claret. And what I'm doing here is just finding the very tip of this claret feather. And I can start the taper as small as possible. So first we will tie this in. And then we have it's gold twist, which I'm sure most of you have already figured out that it's very difficult to find gold twist. So, as per usual, I've made my own. Let's put in, and then the silver tinsel is flat. So let's put in the flat tinsel first. Now for the flat tinsel, this flat silver, I'm using Legarten. It's really the only flat tinsel that I'm able to find. I'm hoping that Vivis actually has some, or at least we'll be putting some out at some point. But Legarten is a metal tinsel, so here's the label for that. It is a good metallic flat tinsel. I do enjoy it. I'm just partial to Vivis. So we'll tie this in here and leave just enough room between this and the hackle for the gold twist. And the gold twist I made from medium Vivus. And that's the gold twist that I've made. I do have a video on how to make this. I can put that in the comment section or in the description section, so that way you guys have a reference for it if you'd like. Okay, so now we get into the body of the fly. Now the first body segment is pale blue, followed by orange, then crimson, and then dark blue. So it looks like it's only one turn of tinsel worth of the pale blue. So we'll put in a small amount of that. And this is the seals fur that I'm using from feathersmc.com. All of the seal fur I'll be using for this video will be from Feathers MC. Just going to put a little bit of wax on the thread first. I mean, you can use black fly tires wax, you can use cobbler's wax, you can use you know, just hairline dubbing wax if you like. You don't need much. When you're dubbing, doesn't matter which fly it is, any fly, even if it's just a little trout fly, always make sure that you twist your dubbing in one direction. If you go back and forth, you'll never get it onto the thread. You're winding it and then unwinding it. And if you do it this way, just all one direction, you'll get it on there just fine. I'm a counterclockwise kind of guy, but it doesn't matter which direction you choose as long as you go in the same direction. Okay, and now we'll do the orange, and the orange is going to be slightly longer than the blue section. Watch that hook point too. Perfect. Ever want to know if you're right on with your body segments, just wrap your tinsel, and you can always find out right where you're at. Next will be the claret section, which will be longer yet. That'll be about 2 turns of tinsel worth. One thing you'll notice is the claret that I've got for my hackle is different for the claret that I've got for the body. For whatever reason, most of my claret seems to be this color. This is a much older hackle that I got from, I got it on eBay somewhere. I do have claret pig's wool, but it's the same color as the claret seal's fur. So I decided to use more of a red claret, because actually claret itself is actually a darker purple. So I'm going to use this one, which is a little bit lighter and more matches the claret from the hackle that I've got. And as you can see, this is the actual claret hackle that I have. And that's much darker. And then my light claret, to me it's just too pink. So I opted for this one. This seems to be the closest to the photograph. But if you actually study the photograph, even the claret seal's fur, or pig's wool rather, does seem to be a bit darker in the book. And this is where the body's going to start actually thickening up a bit, so you'll notice I'm going to be wrapping this a little bit looser. I'm not going to twist it on so thick. Or excuse me, so tight. Alright. And next is dark blue, which doesn't really get to be seen very much. It'll be hidden by hackle and all that, but it says it goes up under the shoulder. So I'm going to put it back a little bit farther because I really want to be able to see it. Okay. Now we will pick this out a little bit later. Really no reason to trim it or anything. So let's start with the flat tinsel first. Not overly happy with that. There we go. That's better. This gold twist is probably a little large than what was intended, but I really wanted it to stand out. Oh, I hope it's long enough. Ooh, that's close. Okay. Yep, I have kind of designated a pair of Anadromous scissors now towards cutting tinsel. I have misplaced my Dr. Slicks. I tell you what, my Anadromous scissors, I wouldn't trade them for anything. And this taper's already a little bit longer than I wanted. That's okay. It'll still look good. It's a large hook. I always like to fold my hackle as I wrap. I could fold it prior, but I like wrapping it and folding it.
Okay. Okay, so next is Galena, which is basically a speckled guinea hen. So now we want to try to match that hackle. I think that's good. So what we'll do with the guinea hen is pull back the longest fibers, and towards the tip it's going to start to shorten up a little bit. So right towards the tip, when you pull that part out and separate it, you can trim right along the rachis there. Don't need that, and we don't need this fluff. Okay. And then we'll fold this back as we wrap it. We don't need much of this, just 1 or 2 turns. I'm going to try for 2. Oh, perfect. That works. And the next feather for the throat is bustard. So I've got a larger Corey bustard hackle here. We'll get rid of the fluffier parts. Then again, we'll do the same thing and we'll peel it back. And these shorter bits we don't really need. So I'll trim those off. And then just repeat the process that we just did with the Galena. Now, you'll notice I like folding this little tab back. That helps lock the feather into place. Prevents it from pulling out while you're wrapping. That's cutting it close to the head, so I'm going to end it right here. And just to align all these feathers, all these feather strands and barbs, just take them, pull them down and bunch them, and then just twist them in your fingers like this. That'll help bring them all down together. A few on top you might have to deal with. Get them out of the way. They're just in a position on the fly that they just can't make their way down and stay down. It's a little bit long, but I like it. I'm going to leave it. Besides, my Cory hackle is dwindling. I don't have any others this size. Okay, so now the main wing is, well, first we've got the underwing, which is golden pheasant tippets. Alright, so you can see the body looks a little bit disheveled here. The head looks a little funky. I actually finished the fly and finished the video, but after reviewing the fly and looking at it further, I was really just not happy with it. So I decided to back up to where I felt I made a mistake. And that was, the wing was just way too big. I'm going to insert a picture right here. Now you know what the wing looked like when I was finished with it the first time. And now we'll take a look. We'll finish it up again, and we'll see the difference. So I'm using the same tippets. I just shortened them a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I got to flatten out the rackets a little. And you can see how much I've shortened that wing. I think that's much, much better. There we go. That's better. Okay. Now to put back on the hackle. And the hackle feather is just the same color as the body hackle. tip on that one. Okay. Next is the Culley and Argus, which I'm just going to use the exact same ones at the exact same length as it was before. Now, here's the issue I ran into is the next material that gets tied in with this is snipe. This is the underwing of the snipe. These are underwing culverts. Right, this is the one for the opposite side. Now, the snipe wings that I ordered, unfortunately, only one wing had coverts. The other wing did not. So there's another option that you can use, and that's wood duck. The underwing of a wood duck is sort of similar. It's a bit lighter in color, and the barring's not quite as pronounced. But you also it's a very wide feather. So I thought about using that, but I'm not going to. Instead, I am going to attempt using a smaller feather on the near side. So this side is going to get this one. It's just because, you know, I tried to fit this one on here, and I think this one, I mean, yeah, this one fits better, but it's not the right side. But I guess this is the presentation side, so maybe I'll use this instead. I have ordered another set of snipe feathers, and I will be redoing this pattern again when I get them. But for now, this is what I've got to work with. So with the snipe feather, it's a rather awkward shaped racquet, so you want to flatten it vertically, not horizontally. And when you go to put it on, you might have to twist it a little bit. There we go. See, that's still thick. It's still thicker than the photograph shows. And as you can see, it's curving upward. It's because this one's meant for the other side of the fly. You wet your fingers and then pull on the feather, though, like this. That thins it out. It should stay that way, so I'm going to try that. And then the other one that I have is too short. Well, that's pretty darn close, actually. I don't like this hackle on the other side. It keeps drooping on me. Yep, I'm not happy. That's a little better, I think. Alright, that's a little better. So what we'll do is get a little bit of Salier on there and get that to set up. Keep things in place. Then we'll go ahead and get the toppings. There's a pair of Cotinga. I'm going to use Kingfisher. I'll let that set up. I'll get the Kingfisher ready, and we'll do that in the toppings. We'll get this done. Alright. Get some Kingfisher on there. Now the other. Okay. Now we're going to work on the toppings. These are toppings that I used previously. Let's see what they look like now that I've shortened the wing a bit. Oh yeah, these toppings are much... Well, they might not be too long. I actually kind of like that. Possible these are a bit too long. Wait, I kind of think that looks good though. Yeah, I'm going to leave the toppings that way. Yeah, I'll leave it. And now there's a yellow hackle collar on here. For this, I'm going to use some yellow schlappen hackle instead of saddle. Just because I want it a little bit thicker, I want it to be a little webbier. So much for my little lock-in procedure. Try that again. Alright, I gotta get rid of some of this other stuff first. Okay, we'll trim the rest in a minute. And that's all we need was that one wrap. Well, it was looking good. Hold on here. Straighten up a few things. Okay. Love my Anadromous scissors. Such a fine point on them, so easy to get right into where I need to. Alright, next we're going to add a little bit of wax to the thread. I'm laying it on relatively thick to kind of help form a head a little bit. And also to form a spot for the hurl head. Just get my ostrich hurl. Okay, so now we'll take our hurl. Now I'm going to use the thread loop method of doing the hurl head, and I'll show you how you do that. I'll eventually do a video on this as well. But you take standard thread, you make a loop in it, just like that, and you tie it in on the underside of the fly. And you want to do that with as few wraps as possible of thread. Take the trailing edge and just kind of loop it behind the fly for now. A little more wax. And you take your hurl and right at the base, just like always, strip away the part of the fluff of the hurl. Tie it in and leave your black thread towards the very back up against the yellow collar. And we're going to wrap this so the stem is facing backwards and the fluff is facing forwards. I just noticed something I don't like. There we go. Okay, once you got your thread wrapped, or your hurl wrapped, you want to get your hurl through that loop in the thread that you made. And you want to take this trailing part and pull on it. Keep the herl straight and inside that thread. And then when you get towards the end and you pull on it, it should pull that herl into it. Now the herl will either break, or in my case the thread, oh no, the herl broke. If the herl breaks, you should be able to just clip off this right here. And then clip off your thread. And the fly is complete. A little bit of adjusting on the materials. And there we go. This is Frederick Tolfreys, the Major, from Jones' Guide to Norway. Fantastic book. I highly recommend picking it up. I'm much happier with this version versus the one that I just did of previously. I think this wing fits it so much better. So, you know, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This one was kind of actually a lot of fun for me. It's a fly I've wanted to tie for a long time. And as soon as I get some more snipe feathers, I will be revisiting this pattern. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming next year. In 2024. So, you know, this might be my last video for the year. I'm going to try to fit in another one between Christmas and New Year's, but don't quote me on that. So, you know, if I don't get one in, I really hope that everybody has such a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. I know 2023 has been challenging for a lot of people, including myself, and, you know, hopefully 2024 offers something a little bit better. That being said, I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, wherever you're at. Don't forget that tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States time, I will be doing the giveaway for the 2 Cory Bustard Feathers, the 2 Florican Bustard Feathers, and the grab bags. So, you know, join the channel later on this evening, and otherwise, I hope to see you guys next year. Take care. I love you all. Thank you very much for everything you've done for me this year. It means so much to me. And here's to another year of, you know, some more flies and some more fun. Take care, everyone. God bless.